Hi guys, welcome to the Cloud 4 Academy Spring Batch and MongoDB bulk update sessions. We are going to do how using Spring Batch, how we can do the batch processing, and then how we in a relational database, and then how we can do the bulk update in NoSQL database. Right? These two operations we are going to do. Thank you for watching, guys. Let's get into the session. Hi guys, welcome to the Spring Batch and MongoDB bulk update session. So Spring Batch, right? Batch processing. When we are going for batch processing, so I have a requirement. I have a system. So system A and system B. System A is our system. System B is another system. So I want to data like product information once in a day. Let's say 1 million records or 10 million records are need. That is required only once in a day at 10 p.m. like 10 a.m. like morning I need. So for that what we need to do, if I want it normally what we'll do, we'll expose the web service call, and the web service will call that system B, system A to system B, and it will pull the data. But it's not reliable, it's not feasible approach because it will take a long running job. So service will take more time. It may happen some network bandwidth or any issue will may happen. So it is very difficult, right? Because if you are fetching 10 million records, it's not an easy process. It will take more time, right? So instead of that, what we can do, we are processing, they are querying this 10 million records, and then they are processing, and then they are placing into the preferred location as a CSV file or XML file, any file, data file, they placed it. And what we know, we will process that file. System A will fetch that CSV file, and then it will read one by one like 10 million records, and then put it into the database. Even this is also not feasible, right? Because if 10 million times if we are reading, so third may stuck on memory issue will happen, right? It's not feasible approach again, right? So if I want to read a batch, so to overcome this process, if you want to read the CSV, what we can do is we'll read like 1,000 records, and then reading 1,000 records at a time, writing 1,000 records at a time, right? 1,000 records we are reading, so that will be faster, highly performance, increase the performance and good efficiency, and it will done the job faster, right, without breaking anything, right? So that's the reason Spring Batch is providing this capability. And even traditional system also we have this capability, but modernization Spring Batch is providing this capability. What it will know, it will read the data from it will read a CSV file, and we can configure how many records needs to read at a time, like in a like concurrent operation, like, right? Or at a time, like 100 records or 1,000 records at a time, and write it 1,000 record at a time into the database, right? So that's what we are doing using Spring Batch. We can batch can be multiple steps can be there. We can read the CSV file, and then calling some service or writing some business logic, and writing another component, and then and then we'll process the record, and then finally putting into the database, right? So multiple steps, but for our demo, for our session, I created simple CSV file, reading that, and then writing into the database, right, as a bulk update. So 5 records at a time it will read just for the demo, and then before writing into that, I will update the data, like pricing. Before pricing, I just added dollar symbol, and then writing into the database, and writing into the database, right? So this is what the batch processing will do. So we can process huge number of data in a batch processing way, like 100 records or 1,000 records or 2,000 records at a time, so that it will be very faster way we can read it without having any issues, right? Let's get into the session, guys. Code changes. I have created a batch processing job. I just created a CSV file. This is a CSV, the product CSV. I'm just copying into the demo, so that into the resource folder. So you can keep this CSV file anywhere in our code base or anywhere you can see CSV. You can keep it, and we can just for demo purpose I keep it in the product in the under resource folder. I kept it. So I'll close this project. So creating the Springboot project is a straightforward way. As I said, Spring initializer, and coming to the Maven, selecting Maven and then creating the package name, and then these are the dependencies I included: Spring Web and Spring Batch, MongoDB, Lambo, and then H in-memory database, H2 memory, H2 database. That is used for best fit for demo purpose, right? Not for production environment. It's used only for demo purpose, right? It's in-memory database, right? So I created already projects, and then these are the dependencies I have added. So what I'm going to do, I'm creating the CSV file I have already created. So CSV file which contains the product information, product data I created. These are the product, it's a CSV format. Create the product data, product ID, product name, product description, and price. So I'm hosting into the code base resource under resource folder. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to create, I have already created Spring classes. So I'm going to create a configuration class, so where I'm going to create all the batch processing configuration. So configuration, I created a configuration folder, and then configuration class, right? What I'm going to do, create Cloud4 Academy configuration, for example, a batch configuration, you can see batch configuration, and you need to announce the configuration class at configuration, and then these are the configurations are required, and you can, I just copy the configuration changes I have already done, and so I just copied that configuration classes. So what are the classes? I can just highlight this. Value is reading from the application.property file. Application.property file I have not changed anything, so I'm going to copy the application.property changes. So these are the application property changes I have already copied. So what I'm going to show you here, port number, and this is a CSV file name, product data as a CSV, and then these are the H2 in-memory database configuration, right? So this configuration, if you are using any relation database, it will be same way, like SQL or Oracle. So this in-memory H2 database is a relational database. So we configure the URL and password, username, everything we configured, right? So, and I'm reading that configuration value, file name, I'm reading as a tag, value tag, I'm reading that. And bean class, I have added bean class, and then these are the import file item reader class. Basically I'm doing the read operation here. I'm doing the read operation. I'm doing the read operation. I'm importing all the every classes. I'm importing, and then bean class. We have to create a bean class, so that is not created. I'm going to here, here I'm going BO. Folder name is BO business object. So I'm creating, like here I'm creating product bean class, I'm creating, which is hosting the data, product bean class, right? So bean class I have created. So if I create a product bean class, so what are the data product bean? You can copy the properties. These are the properties I have used. So since I use Lambo is getter setter known into place, this will automatically taken care. It's generated automatically. That's a Lambo dependency I used, and this classes I have created. Lambo imported, and then I'm going to create product bean, importing that. This is a section for read the CSV file. So what are the field? Product ID, product name, product description, price. It is initializing with the product bean class, right? And then this is a class for writer. So this is a class for writer. Writer class. This is a class. What I am doing here, I am going to insert record. I am going to insert into the database. That's what I am doing. First, what I am doing, file reader. I am reading the file from CSV. So read operation. Not still. This is a write operation. Insert into the SQL database. And then this is a job, actual job we are creating. So this job, what you will know, job repository will contain the meta information, what job, what time it was running. So all the data can be stored. This listener will trigger when you run the job, and then once completed it will say completed. So there is a after method, before method we can override. After job what we need to do, before job what we need to do, we can update that. That's what the job listener will do. And job builder, just import job builder, and then job incrementer. So these are the steps we have to write. So which step we have to, the step 1, step 2, we can create multiple batch processing, right? We can update, we can write a business logic, and we can insert into another database, or we can send the data to another service. So we can do multiple operation, we can do. That's called step 1, step 2, step 3 we can do. Now we are doing only one step, right? Reading the file and then inserting into the database. There are 2 steps we are doing. And the repository. So and then job listener, job support listener is nothing but we are job listener, we are instantiating that, and we are doing. And then this is step method. Here we are writing the step method. Here we are writing the step method. And processor, product item processor, we are not creating that class, so we are creating this. We are going to create that step method. We are reading that from the reader, this reader method, and then writing this writer method, and process, this process method will do. So after reading, what business logic we have to do before writing into the database, we can write that. That's called processor class. We are going to write it. So this processor class we can write before writing any business logic. We want to change the format, or we want to update any string, or we want to uppercase, changing the data to uppercase. So anything we can do. I'm telling, for example, I'm writing. So before updating to the database, what we can do. Okay, I'm just going to create the same class, another class. The name is this one, product item processor. So product item processor we have created here. Product item processor, yeah, implements item processor. This will implement the item processor. Sorry, I think some mistakes happen. Should be Java class. Process item class actually. So implements item processor, importing the item processor, product being imported, and then we are going to override this method. What we are overriding, product being we are overriding. Process method, before writing what needs to be done. That's what this method is, we are overriding that. So whatever we want to do, we can do that. Whatever we want to do, we can do that. Self4j. So log factory, and then item processor, import this factory also, log4j. So now this process method, it will do after reading the CSV, before writing into the data into the database, what changes we need to do in the data while reading from CSV file. I'm updating the product price, only price is there. I'm going to update dollar symbol, dollar. Let's say if you open this, see here only data is there, amount is there 20, but dollar is not updated. So I'm just updating the dollar, how many dollars. And then after that, what I am doing, I am creating the bean object, and then log printing, returning that. This will be automatically taken care, right? So we go here, item processor, importing item processor. So this processor, what it will here, reading and then processing, updating the dollar, and then writing into the database. So these two methods will get called, right? And then what I am doing, so this is done, right? Now we have created, and listener also we have to create a listener. So listener, just overriding the listener after completing the job, what we need to do, or before. So the listener, what will know before completing the job, what it needs to do, after completing the job, what needs to be done. So that's what listener will do, fire that listener event, right? So I'm creating the listener. Listener is already out of the box listener, implements job execution listener. I'm overriding that actually, implementing that. So, and then what I'm doing is I'm overriding this method. So this method, what it will know, it will do job execution, and logger, log4j, here also log4j. Batch update status. If job status is completed, finished, like that, it will print the log. We can process any, if you want to do any other job, or if you want to write any logic, or we want to call some web service, or we want to update another database, or we want to put some entry, we can do that, right? That's the reason this method we are giving. This listener we are overriding after job, before job. If you see that before job method, we can override. If you want to something before logging, printing, or something you want to do, we can do before the job, right? This is after the job we are doing, right? So the job is reading from CSV and inserting into the SQL database, right? That's what we are doing. So that's what, after the SQL database insertion, we can do anything, whatever we want, we can do. I just finished the job, finished, verify the result logs. I just print that, right? And then yeah, we have, this is a POM file. We have batch, MongoDB, and then web and HTML memory database, Lambo. These are the things we have added. And the configuration, this is a configuration class, this is a configuration reader, and then this is a writer, and this is a class, this is a property file, an item processor, these are changes, and then listener we are overriding, and item processor also we are extending. Item processor extending process before inserting. This is after the job. So listener we are overriding that. That's it. So now I am going to call this class. So what it has to, in memory database, it has to, these entries needs to be created, right? So I'm just going to call that. So before that, I just placed on SQL file. So we have to create a SQL file. So I'm just copying this SQL file here. So open projects, because see the SQL file I already here. SQL file, where is SQL file? I not already here. Okay, I'm just copying this SQL file. It is under resource, it will automatically taken care. Schema.sql means it will automatically generate the SQL script. Write it down. Okay. Schema, this is a schema. Schema is creating product, and product ID, name, description, price, right? This will create the schema. We will start up the server. So I'm going to start this server. I'm going to start this application, demo application, right? This process I'm going to start. Let's see. Yeah, job is running. Now we have converted. We can see that job C, job are executed. So we can go to the, we can go to the file, the console, in memory database, and we can see what data is inserted. We can just click that, and then see connect. See, we can see these are the data as inserted. Batch execution. If you run this query, see the batch, what time it is started and what time it's completed, or what is the status of that. All the status in the job repository, it will be captured. That's what job. Okay. So if I want to execute execution, we can check this each execution. What is this execution parameters, right? If you want to run, so this parameter will give sort context and will give. If you want to job instance, right, this will give job instance data. Job instance means what job is, job name, what is a job key. And if you want to, if I click job key execution, it will run how many records are processed. Let's say 8 commit count and 37 records are processed. Read count, write count, 37 record processed, and status code is completed, which time is completed. All the detailed data it will display in the database. It will capture that meta information, right? Job metadata information will be captured, right? So finally we are going to see product database, what is stored in the product table, because our intention is our job is we have to read the CSV file and then put it into the product table, right? That's what we are doing. See, is already inserted all these records into the product data. And if you see this dollar, it is inserted. CSV, every amount it is inserting dollar before that. That's what before inserting what it has to update. So some business logic, updating the dollar and men's data. So this is what our batch processing is done, right? So very high level, it is creating the, we are creating the batch jobs, and it will insert into the database, right? So if you see the CSV, this is our CSV. CSV is nothing, is a comma separated, values will be there and amount will be there. It was reading and inserting into that. right? So next we are going to see how MongoDB bulk update will happen. Let's get into the session. Hi, we are going to do the bulk update in NoSQL database. Before this session, we have seen how we are going to insert a batch processing as a bulk update in relational database, H2 in-memory database. Now we are going to see how we are going to insert a bulk update in MongoDB. Right, MongoDB is a NoSQL database. How we are going to do, right? So first I just configure, I commented all the code because I'm using the same code base. I'm just giving the Spring Boot MongoDB or local MongoDB I have installed. So this is a database name and host name and port number we have configured, and I'm just going to comment this configuration. So because that is not required, right? Because I'm just going to comment this configuration because this is currently configured for this, and so we need to create an entity called product bean. It's already created. Just if you see MongoDB, MongoDB, it is there MongoDB product data. There are no data currently, so I'm just going to configure product data, right? Product data. So how we can do is I just configure here document. I'm going to here document. So I'm just going to document product data, right? Product data, I have product data documents ADT, right, which will hold the product ID, product name, description. So same thing, I'm going to read this CSV file and then put it into the database as a bulk update in MongoDB, right? So I'm going to create a controller. So I'm going to create controller like class Cloud 4 Academy batch controller. I'm just name it like batch controller. I'm going to copy this all these code changes. I'm just going to do that, copying this code changes. Yeah, I copied this all these code changes, and here one thing we have done it like at rest controller. I just given rest controller, and value tag is just reading from the property file, and auto over the MongoDB template, Mongo template, and get mapping, and then all the classes. So this is a REST UI. When I call this MongoDB bulk update, what will happen is it will call this bulk operation, and it will read the CSV file, and then it will put it into the MongoDB database as a bulk update, right? So that's our file reader, and then CSV parser. This is a normal traditional CSV. So you want to copy the CSV dependency. So this is already there. So I'm just going to copy the CSV dependency. So the open CSV method, which is used to deal the CSV operations, right? So that's the dependency. I'm going to add it here. I'm going to add the dependency. Yeah, I added the dependency. Not the open com.open CSV dependency I added, so that all CSV we can read it, and then we can parse it, right? CSV reader, file reader, and then CSV reader, and then just save it, CSV reader, CSV builder. So this is the input file, path of the CSV file, which separator, comma separator, right? CSVs are comma separated, and then these things array list, and then increment array list. Yeah, now so this is a simple way of code changes, just reading the CSV file using CSV parser, and then for loop it is iterating the CSV all the data, and then so this is simple, just reading the CSV, and then setting in the array list of product data we are adding to the array list. So here you are doing the main important thing is here you are doing the bulk operation. So bulk operation, these are the MongoDB way, on order way, and iterating that, and then adding criteria, and then query. These are we need to import the MongoDB API, and then update, and then document, and then finally here we are writing the MongoDB bulk ops start execute, right? So this process we are doing the bulk operation, MongoDB bulk operation. Bulk operation means it will if you have 10,000 record, it will update like 500, 1000, or 1000 or 500, or MongoDB itself, it will split the records and it will update as a batch update. So this will reduce the time, saving the time, and it will be faster, right? So that's what it will do. So this code changes, right? So now I'm going to call this service. I'm going to call this service. Service name is Mongo update, and so I'm just going to start the server again. So if I see that batch, sorry, here I just started the demo application class. So if I see this MongoDB, there are no data, right? There are no data in product data. So service started. Yeah, it started. I'm going to run this class http localhost 8082 slash Mongo bulk update. See, data is processed, but it's having some error. Let's see what error. File not found exception is specified. Okay, that's fine. I think records are not stored. Okay, I'll check this where the file is missing. Yeah, the issue is simple. Just the product data, right? This product data CSV I copied the parent from the root folder, not here. Just the demo root folder I copied, so that it is fetching instead of resource file. So I just copy in the here, and then I'm going to start the server. Okay, so now if you see this product data is nothing, no data is not there. I'm going to run this bulk update completed, and yeah, I'm going to check this is executed, no error, right? There are no error. I'm going to the MongoDB, right? See, records are inserted, $200. So it's not like batch processing. This is we are not using Spring Batch here. We are using the directly MongoDB bulk update with a NoSQL database, right? See, it's the record. We are not using Spring Batch. Spring Batch we used only the NoSQL database, that is in memory. Sorry, it's a relational database, in memory H2 database. But this is NoSQL with the MongoDB bulk update, right? In Springboot 3.2 version. So we have updated. See, it's updated the data. So what we did is we written a simple REST controller, and then reading the CSV dependency we added, and then we just write a MongoDB bulk operation here, the MongoDB bulk operation, and then it will update it into the MongoDB bulk update. Right? Thank you for watching, and we are looking forward to join Grow for Academy, guys. Thank you.